The Late Morning Program with Nam Ras Podcast.
Hare Krishna, everyone. You're listening to the Nam Ras Podcast, the number one Hare Krishna podcast in the world. I should stop saying that because I don't know if it's true and it's getting old.
I think it's true.
You think it's true?
I think it's true.
Thank you. Appreciate that. So delighted to have JivaG back with us for a second episode. We were remote the first time.
Yeah.
If you remember, that was a few years ago now. But so much, I feel like, has happened since then.
Totally.
But for our viewers who didn't see that episode, maybe Jiva, you can start off by just saying, like, what's your focus? What's your emphasis? What's your background? Maybe the emphasis first, like on the Bhakti Recovery Group. For those of you who don't know, Bhakti Recovery Group is an amazing group, 10-step program.
12-step.
12-step program for devotees. And she's going to tell us about that first. And then we can get into all the different topics we've been talking about for the past few hours offline, but we can bring it online.
Great.
Yeah.
So, yeah, JivaG.
JivaG, yeah.
And I head up Bhakti Recovery Group, and the Bhakti Recovery Group is a nonprofit 12-step oriented Bhakti recovery program. And this is the thing. I think the word 12-step scares people.
Yeah, yeah.
And our focus is addictions, anarthas, and associated behaviors. So we have to, when I use the word anartha, I have to make sure that you guys know that the Bhakti Recovery Group is not, you see, it's like an onion. Addictions and associated behaviors and anarthas are like onions. And I know that's not very Vedic to talk about onions, but you know, you have the core and then there's the layers, one layer after the other.
Right.
And when we're talking about, you know, there's some people have very minor addictions or some people have very major addictions.
Yes.
You know, and that's sort of the top layer. And when we get those taken care of, it just one layer after the other. And you will see that at some point you'll get to that sweet surrender, you know. I originally started, I have to say, I am a clean addict. I have been clean and sober for 27 years.
Amazing.
Yeah. It's through the grace of Krishna and nothing else. Through the grace of Krishna and a 12-step program and devotees and like-minded devotees. So when I got into Krishna Consciousness, I was a very heavy 12-stepper. I was going into, I got clean and sober in the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous and of Narcotics Anonymous. And, you know, I was talking about this earlier. Coming to the point, I feel so lucky and so grateful to have had this extremely brutal addiction. Now, let me explain why I say this. Because if I didn't have that kind of addiction, that hard addiction, I don't know if I would have ever been able to surrender. I was literally beaten into submission. And through that, I learned what surrender is. When I did my first step, and that's, I admit that I'm powerless over my anarthas, addictions, and associated behaviors, and my life had become unmanageable. And that was abundantly clear. When you're an opiate addict, when you're addicted to opiates, heroin or whatever else, you know, now today I think it's fentanyl and all that stuff.
Yeah.
That's something, what happens there is your life is ruled by that particular substance. You are not free to choose anymore. You don't have the freedom of choice. You don't have the freedom of doing what you want to do. You are confined within the ways and means of getting that drug. And that's all your life is. When you become free of that, you have the choice. You have a choice. You're free to choose what you're going to do. Your feelings, your emotions, you know, They don't push you around anymore. So getting to that, having that realization, being able to have that really hard thing to bump against and to surrender to and to turn to God about was a huge blessing. Because before that, if I went to Krishna Consciousness and they would talk about surrender, I'd be like, well, why? Why and how? And it's not like I thought at the time, I'm surrendered. I'm surrendered to God completely, 100%. I gave up drugs. That's what I thought. But then life started happening, like regular life, getting a job, having a family, getting my stuff together, getting, my life together, and realizing that was just the one layer, the very first layer of the onion, the very first layer. And giving my whole life over to Krishna, not a little, not that just my addiction part, but all the other parts. And the most subtler ones, we start to realize that it's not just drugs and alcohol. It's not maybe just a cigarette. It's everything. An addiction is a behavior that we have an obsessive compulsive behavior. How many of us as a devotee say, I'm not going to have seconds at prasad? I'm not. And how many times do we do it? When we say we're not going to do it, we just keep doing it. And how many times do we say, I'm not going to scroll after 10? And how many times do we scroll after 10? How many times do we say, I'm not going to watch TV today? Well, I don't have a TV at home, but some people do. And then they do. And how many times do we say, no, I'm not going to eat, I'm going to go on, a Kadashi. I'm not going to eat, I'm not going to eat beans and grains.
Yeah. And
you do anyway. Or whatever it is. But it's that thing when we know we shouldn't do this because it doesn't help our spiritual, it doesn't help us spiritually. And if it doesn't help us spiritually, then it is an anartha. And it is, in a way, an addiction. And that's the thing. People shouldn't be scared about the 12 steps. The 12 steps are blessed from Krishna. His Holiness Radhanath Swami knows this. This is why he's encouraged me and others to do this, to spread that message of the Bhakti Recovery Group. Does that answer a little bit?
Totally, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that brings up, a more conversation around people who, like we were talking in the car, people who think that, oh, this is for really hardcore drug users that want to just get rid of, their addiction. But actually, you named addiction, anarthas, and associated behaviors. Everyone has anarthas, and everyone has certain addictions. And I'm not so familiar with associated behaviors. We can maybe get into that later. But those first two things, everyone has that to an extent.
Totally. Whether they want to believe it or not.
Exactly. So I guess my question is, when should someone feel like, oh yeah, I should do this because I either don't have control, but I mean, I feel like I don't have control. So should I be a part of it too? I mean, like, what would you say to that?
So, and we said this in the car, and I'm going to repeat it. I'm going to repeat this because a 12-step program and also being Krishna conscious, that's not for people who need it because we all know everyone needs it.
Yeah.
It's for people who want it. Now, the thing is this is fully bona fide. It's not like we're not just doing it's not like some witch ritual. Some people are like, oh, 12 steps, that's not bona fide. That's not,
Yeah.
And I've heard that before. And it's a shame that people think that. And it usually comes from people who have literally freaking no idea about what the 12-step program is,
Yeah. Oh, Srila Prabhupada didn't give it, so we're not.
Exactly. And that's a shame. It's a pity. It's okay. I mean, everyone is entitled to their own opinions. But I think all of us need some support sometimes, and we need to have a true, honest, authentic space to share our vulnerabilities in anonymity and in trust. And this is what I want to offer. I want to offer an anonymous, safe space for people to come and be able to say, you know what? Hey, how many Western, for me, I'm so lucky and I'm so glad. 4 regs are not a problem for me. And I can say this with a very happy heart. I don't struggle with the 4 regs.
Right.
I do struggle with chanting. I struggle with that. It's a struggle for me. And other things I struggle with.
Yeah.
So the thing is, you got to pick up people where they are, and people need a place to come. If you go to a temple and you start saying, I don't like to chant, or I smoked a cigarette, or, even the small things, I'm playing too many video games. People are not going to say that at the temple, in their temple community. They don't want to be judged.
Yes.
And the thing is, the Bhakti Recovery Group, we don't judge anyone. We'll pick you up right where you are. That's how we roll. We are such a tight Sangha, and we are so warm and welcoming. There's so many amazing devotees in the Bhakti Recovery Group, and I love them all. And we make this great Sangha of just people, devotees being, we have lots of brahmacharis who come with video game addictions and all kinds of stuff.
Sure, yeah.
And we have people who were brahmacharis. We have people who are just Krishna curious, like new devotees who come from 12-step programs. And then we have
they come from the 12-step program.
some people, yeah. It's rare, but we have some people who come who've seen it online, and of course have seen it on Wisdom of the Sages. I need to shout out Wisdom of the Sages.
Of course, the true number one Hare Krishna
True
podcast.
number one Hare Krishna podcast. I think you guys are totally different. So it's a whole.
We are totally different. We have different audiences. I mean, we have some overlap for sure, but
everyone I know who's part of the Wisdom of the Sages posse all say they love you. All of them. They say
I love the
love
Wisdom
you.
of the Sages.
Yeah. So it's. So anyway.
Yeah.
Shout out to Wisdom of the Sages. I love them, and I wouldn't be here without them either.
Amazing.
Because Raghu and Kastuba have supported me so much, and I've been through a lot trying to get this thing going, and there's been some conflict here and there sometimes.
Let's talk about that. Why I mean, we don't have to go into specifics, right? So but okay, a program to help devotees with overcoming anarthas and addiction. Why in the world would there be a conflict regarding that? I know we spoke about, Prabhupada didn't give that, blah, 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 but let's talk about that.
Well, the thing is that, so this is the thing I gotta kind of wind back. So I'm still also like a newbie. I've only been into Bhakti for like 7 years. I'm a baby. Really, I'm just a beginner. I've been in the program actually for almost 35 years.
Wow.
But I've been clean and sober for 27. And believe me, there's nothing worse than a head full of God and program and a belly full of booze. That's like the worst thing, but that's beside the point.
Right.
What was the question again? Sorry.
Why is there conflict around it?
So I think that the conflict is fear, and I think people are fearful. I think people on both sides are very fearful because we guard our traditions in the highest of highest regards, as should be. It should be scrutinizingly looked at, fine-tooth comb, and we should really look at what that is. And statements and conflicts come from usually ignorance and fear. And those two things are very much accompanied by each other. When you're in ignorance, you're usually in fear because you don't really know what it is.
Right.
So I believe that we have 12-step sticklers, people who are so firm in their 12-step traditions, and as should be. If you're at a traditional AA meeting, it should be a traditional AA meeting. If you're at a traditional temple, it should then probably be a traditional temple. Mm-hmm. But when I'm trailblazing here, guys. I'm trying to clear the path, and I'm getting flack
from temples specifically.
I'm from 12-step people too.
Right. Okay, understood.
Flack from both sides.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm trailblazing, guys. And it's like at one point I almost wanted to give this all up. I just wanted to put a bomb in it and blow it up and say, no, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm tired of being criticized.
Wow.
And Kastuba looked at me and he goes, "You're not giving that up. I know you." And I was like, "Yeah, I know." And Raghu was like, "No, we're settling this. We're gonna get this clear." And they just helped me. They helped me through that so much.
Wow.
And supported me so much. I'm so loved and supported from them that I'm just the luckiest person on earth. I feel like just that I have, And it's really growing right now. The Bhakti Recovery Group has grown to this like really sweet sangha right now. And people are just loving the fact that they can come somewhere and say like, I fall short of the high bar of being a devotee. And I'm trying. And have everybody say, I love you anyway. I love you anyway. We love you anyway. And we want you to keep coming, And it's a cleansing process. It's a purification process. It really is. The 12 steps is none other but bhakti, in other words. It's the same perfume, different bottle. Right. It really is. So many similarities, so many, we have the first step, surrender. We have the second step, we have faith. We have some faith. Then we give our will and our lives over to the care of God. Then we clean house, which means we take an inventory. Then we share that with God, with another human being and ourselves. And then we realize what our character defects is. Then we go on and we ask God to remove those character defects. And then we make a list of people we've harmed. And then in the next step, we make amends to all those people that we have harmed. The 10th step, we keep taking that inventory, the daily inventory. It's like dusting the house. We're keeping that house clean by dusting it. Yeah. And the 11th step is we sought through prayer and meditation and the chanting of the holy names to improve our conscious contact with Krishna as we understand him. And then we have the 12th step is after having a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we carry this message to others. So it is birth and death. It is breathe in, breathe out. It is give and take. We are here for people and we serve and we receive. And it's a lifesaver. It was a lifesaver to me. We're going to talk about the associated behaviors. Yeah. So when I got clean and sober, I was married for 17 years and I was suffering more than I'd ever suffered. I was miserable at some point. I was so miserable. And I was having a spiritual crisis. I didn't know who God was. I loved God, and God. I knew God loved me, and I knew God saved me, but He wasn't personal. And I kept borrowing little gods everywhere, and it just nothing really stuck. It's just like okay, kind of like sort of like an intuitive Hindu. Like I wasn't. Right. But it was just kind of like, okay, sometimes I'll pray for this and Jesus will come in my head or Mary will come in my head. But it was just not, there was nothing to grasp. It wasn't a person I couldn't hug, I couldn't hold on like that. And I realized that I was living a life, this spiritual life, a 12-step spiritual life. But I had switched my addictions to codependencies. So essentially, I was giving my will and my life over to my husband as he understood himself and trying to live a life that wasn't authentic to myself. And I was with somebody who I thought, and he's not a bad person. In his own right, he's an amazing guy. But I didn't know what it meant to be a normal person. And I didn't know what it meant. I was coming from being a junkie. Right. And I didn't know what it meant to be like 2 cars, the house, and I did all of that. 2 cars, house, a nice Rolex, a Mercedes, all nice. I wasn't happy. I was miserable. I had everything. And I was just miserable. And I kept trying to be the person that he wanted me to be. And I kept trying to people please and try to fit myself into some what's the word in English? Muster in German. So it's like some form that wasn't me. And always feeling bad about myself and saying yes when I meant no, when I really didn't want to, and doing things I didn't want to do, and having a job I didn't want to have. And I just, the more money we had, the worse it got for me.
So has nothing to do with substance abuse any longer. It's more,
had nothing to do with substance
abuse. It's more a behavioral or psychological thing.
I would say, yeah, it's a deep rooted thing. And this is the next layer of onion. And then there's one underneath it. We'll talk about that afterwards.
Oh, wow.
So that was sort of being the codependent is being the hurt adult child of an alcoholic or a dysfunctional family, which means when you're raised in a dysfunctional family, when you're raised in that kind of atmosphere where you don't know what's coming next, you're constantly trying to please so that you don't get in trouble, or you don't know what your parents are going to do. You don't know if you're going to get hit, or if you don't know, whatever that is.
Right.
So you're either totally deviant or you're trying to please all the time, just so that there's no stress and no conflict.
Yeah.
And so that's how I was running for years, just doing this and trying to fulfill the dreams of what my husband thought I should be. And that was so tiring. And I even thought I wanted to do it. I was like, because I didn't know what I wanted. So I was like, I'll just borrow what he thinks and see if that's good. And I see how that feels. And I became emptier and emptier and emptier.
But was he doing it knowingly or unknowingly?
No, I don't think he was doing it knowingly. He was doing it unknowingly because it's all this stuff happens on a subtle level. This is not spoken about. This is just a subtle level. I started to develop obsessive compulsive behaviors. I started to be like clean the toilet 5 times a day, clean the bathroom.
You were telling me that. I remember that.
Yeah. I started to do all kinds of weird things for control because I was not in control of anything. And so when we separated, I realized that my second addiction was anything but me. I'll take anything but me, and I'll fill it in that God-sized hole that's never filled, except for God. And when we separated, I fell into a deep, deep, deep depression. And that depression really made me reach out for God. Govinda.
Yeah.
And it was such a dark time in my life. And I really thought, my life is over now. And not 1 second did I think about doing drugs.
Oh.
Not 1 second. I thought about suicide, but I didn't think about drugs.
Oh, wow.
Drugs was not an option. Like Krishna took that from me. He took that from me. So working through that and getting to know who I was in relation to Krishna.
Yeah.
And then I reached out to Kastuba because we were childhood friends.
Right.
I think in the episode we were on last time, I explained that, and we, he took the time to show me who Krishna was, and it was like, okay, this is what I've been thinking all the time. It was literally like everything, like what I said, I was living like a Hindu, I didn't know it. Like all these things that I believed, these deep inherent knowledge was there. It was just being uncovered. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
And it was the second time that my life was saved. And it was another, like, going into the land of Oz. Everything was black and white, and then stepping into this multicolored, like, oh my God, like this is God, this is God. I mean, amazing. And I started to get to know who I really was. And I don't mean in a psychological level, and I don't mean like my position here.
Right.
That I am a Jiva, I am a spirit soul, and I'm not this body, I am not this mind, I'm something divine. And getting to know what that meant on a deep, deep, deep level. And I'm not talking about, I can't quote Shastra. I'm not going to remember all this stuff. I'm old. I don't remember everything. But the essence of that is so deeply ingrained in me that I'm so grateful that I know this, that first of all, I've got karma, I've got my samskaras, I've got my anartas, and I've got all these things. It's all explained. All of it is explained. There's nothing in any of the scriptures that I've read that hasn't been fully explained. And for me, like, not even like, that's not true. Like, boom, like, yes, truth.
Yeah.
That's how it is when I read anything from Prabhupada, actually. So, and this inherent truth is not just being of Gaudiya Vaishnava.
Yeah.
If I hear people like Richard Rohr, I don't know if you guys know him, but
Of course. Yeah.
if I hear that, he's speaking the same truth.
Yeah.
He speaks the same truth.
Yeah. Richard
That's
Rohr.
the same truth. It's the same truth. Another bottle, same perfume, you know, and that's the essence.
Yeah. More specifically, what does it look like when the BRG is connected with like a temple?
So
You do have that.
Well,
Right.
so it's sort of. So I'm saying we're pioneering here. We're
Right.
bushwhacking.
We're in the beginning stages here.
Yeah, we're toddlers here. I would like to give a huge shout out to two temples, Alachua and here in Philly. So
Okay.
they have been very open.
That's great.
And Alachua, they give announcements because there is an in-person meeting, a Bhakti recovery group in-person meeting, one for men, one for women. In Alachua, they decided as a community they'd like to keep that separate.
Okay.
So there's a women's and a men's meeting each time once a week in person.
Wow.
And they announce it every Sunday feast that there's, you know, and they're very supportive. It's not in the temple.
Sure.
It's at the Krishna House, which
Yeah.
is kind of down the street and across the street, down and across the street.
Yeah.
And they're doing a fantastic job doing that. And they're open to that. And this is what we need. You know, I think a problem, it shouldn't be directly in a temple because people need their anonymity. And I think a lot of people, if you know, especially these days, we know that the temples are predominantly culturally also Indian.
Right.
So you know that that's not really a household thing, the 12 steps. You know, it's not really something that they're very open to. You know,
Right.
not a lot. Some people maybe, but
Yeah.
so it's been, you know, it's like, what is that? You know, so somebody who may have a problem or an anartha, even a small minor one that they feel like it's getting in the way of their Krishna consciousness, getting in the way of their chanting, getting in the way of anything that's bringing us forward in Krishna consciousness, and they want to look at it, because that's the key word, you want. You want to.
You want to, yeah.
If you want to, and if you want to have support in that, and if you want to move forward and you can't do it by yourself, there ain't no shame in that. Just come around and you'll figure it out. You know, you'll figure out how to deal with it. We're not cured. We're here in Maya. Come on, we're in Kali Yuga. What do you think?
Yeah.
What do you think? Are we going to be like, I'm in Kali Yuga all alone? That's great. You know, that's why they say association, association, association. We don't have association and like-minded association. Where are we going to be? We're going to be either lonely, isolated, and worst of all, we're going to be thinking that we're our own gurus. We don't want to be our own gurus. What a disaster that'll be.
There's
God.
there's such this like perfect archetype conception that we have to meet these like super high standards, and if we don't, we're like some horrible person, and you know, we can't be real with each other and authentic and stuff like this gives me hope for the movement. I just grew up with hearing like all this stuff that you have to be this and you have to be that, and
It's a lot of pressure.
it's so much
How
pressure.
was that for you? How was that for you? Well, I'm
Thank you for
going to turn
asking
this
me.
around. I'm going to turn this around.
Thank
How
you
was
for
that for
asking
you?
me. No one's
How
ever
was
asked me before. Yeah, it's been, I mean, as an adult now and with children, I really let go of all that. Honestly, I really have. Just like the to try to put up some kind of front. Like I'm not into that anymore. Like I'm trying to be really authentic myself now. And, you know, when I want to go to the temple in pants, and I just do that. And if I don't feel like wearing tilak, I don't do that. Or if struggling with my chanting, then I just own up to it. And if you know, me and Tulsi have this like good, like we have this understanding about our lives that we have really, you know, how we were talking about how you were saying, how does someone who didn't go through like a really deep, dark kind of addiction, how do they surrender to Krishna? Because that's like very kind of foreign to people who haven't gone through that. For me, I feel that I have gone through like, you know, not being able to come to the standard and feeling really bad about that and guilty about that. And then feeling that some real deep humility that Krishna like sometimes it's hard, and sometimes I can't, meet the mark. And that's just like you said, living in Kali Yuga. We're just Kali Yuga. I hear people say we're just Kali Yuga creatures or Kali Yuga rejects. Like we should just embrace that, and that's where the progress comes from, I think.
Oh
right?
my God, yes. But let me tell you something. I truly believe that true humility is accepting where we are, exactly where we are at that very moment.
Yes.
Which means we're not hitting the bar. We're not hitting the bar. It's not like I'm not hitting the bar, so I'm never going to hit the bar and I don't want to do it anymore.
Yes.
That's not what I mean.
Yes.
I just mean I'm not hitting the bar, but I'm moving forward slowly,
Yeah.
And this is... Go ahead. I'm sorry. You.
No. Please. Continue.
Okay.
No.
Okay. So I just really, So some people are in such distress and in so much pain, whether it's coming from dysfunctional families, and we bring our childhood into our adulthood, and sometimes we can't let go of that. Sometimes we have childish behaviors, or we have these behaviors that don't serve us.
Yeah.
And we can't get rid of them. Whether it's anger, whether it's sadness, whether it's acting childish in a situation, or bossy, or whatever it is, like the boy whose mother talked over him all the time is now like the biggest like bully, you don't know what that is, right? So when we continue to look at those things and own those things and mature spiritually, emotionally, mentally, and in our daily lives, when we continue to do that, each individual will grow into a healthy individual. And what do you have when you have a bunch of healthy individuals? You have a healthy community. And if you if you have a bunch of dysfunctional people, you're going to have a dysfunctional community. And how many dysfunctional communities do we have? Be honest.
So many.
Yeah. Because we haven't looked at and we haven't owned it.
Yeah.
You got to own that. You got to own it. So I'm not talking about like, oh, I write all the things that's horrible about myself and blah, 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 and then swim in it. I'm talking about visiting it, looking at it, accepting it, owning it, working through it, and letting it go. It's so simple. Clean house, because we all have a dirty house. We walk in, it's like you said, age of Kali Yuga. We're here in Kali Yuga. This is the craziest time ever. Just look around.
Yeah. Just
look around. Yes. And if you think that's not affecting you, even on a subtle level, think twice, buddy.
Yeah.
It's crazy out here. My head's crazy too. I'm nuts.
I love it.
Yeah.
Something that you said really stuck out to me was that when people say that they don't want to do it because they can't make the mark. Let's talk a little bit about that, because I have friends who are like, they're like, oh, I've been doing this for a while and I was hitting the mark at some points and now I'm not anymore. So let's just throw the whole thing out.
Yeah.
That's so dangerous. And it's
totally.
It's so prevalent though.
Oh my gosh. Yes. But that's the thing. It's funny because I went into something else, but that's what I wanted to talk about actually.
Oh, really? Okay,
yeah,
good,
that's
good.
exactly what I wanted to talk about.
Krishna.
I lost my way and then I was like, what did I want to talk about? But that was it.
Okay.
It was exactly that. So while being a devotee, let's say you're a devotee, but you're smoking, you're doing whatever, you're still eating meat sometimes, or you're eating egg, or you're drinking coffee, or
the New York came out there. I loved it.
Coffee. Anything like that, and you're a beginner in Bhakti. You're a beginner. What are you going to do? Like wait until you read all the Vedas? You're going to read the whole Srimad Bhagavatam? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? So entering a 12-step program is like the fast track. It's all that condensed. It's not the knowledge of all the stories, the leelas, and all the lessons. It's vast. It's vast and beautiful. But the 12 steps brings it back and gives you the time to develop into that. It gives you the safety in order to, it's like the safe car in the world of Bhakti. So you're in the safe car, very held in this space of the Bhakti like, for example, the Bhakti Recovery Group, there's other places, I guess, that carry their devotees in that way.
Yeah.
But for us, it's that 12-step vehicle that keeps us safe and gives us time and says it's okay to take that time.
Wow, that's so good. It's
You know?
okay to have take that time.
It really is. And it's not like, we're not saying like, oh, relax, don't do anything. No, don't misunderstand. We need to do the steps. We need to do things. You need to go forward. But we also need to understand that we're not going to, that's just alone, like you said, I want to hit that bar. That's the bar of perfection.
Yeah.
That's an addiction.
Whoa.
That's an addiction. Always wanted to be perfect. I got that. I always want to be perfect. Then I don't want to do it at all. But I've learned that there is a whole world in between those two statements. No and all.
Right.
You know, like there's a whole world. And that's the world, that's the subtle world where I can grow and grow and grow and learn from people and say, okay, I'm not chanting 16 rounds, but I chanted 1 round today. You know, I remember when I started trying to chant 16 rounds, it was hell on earth for me. Oh my God, I run and I gotta go do this. Oh, 16 rounds, oh my God, what am I gonna do? You know, fully like a chicken with its head cut off.
Wow.
Like seriously crazy. Like I gotta make the mark, I gotta make the mark. If I wanna be initiated, I gotta do this, I gotta do this. And you know what? I said, no, stop. And I just sat down and I said, okay, I'm gonna chant my round as slow as possible.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna see how that feels. And it feels better. And if I make 16, I do. And if I don't, I don't. It's hard for me to make that mark. Mm-hmm. And it's still okay. Krishna loves me. That's it. And I'm not going to be standing there in death and Krishna's going to be like, you didn't chant your 16 rounds. Get the heck out of here. You're not going to be here in Vaikuntha. You're going to go down to the lower planets. I don't think that that's going to happen. I mean, if it does, it does. But I don't think it is. That's not why I would chant.
That's such an important realization that all devotees should somehow be able to come to. That it's not about, just putting the counter beads down and then feeling good that you did that.
I know.
The devotion, there's no devotion in that.
No.
The real heart feeling of calling out to Krishna, chanting his name and all that stuff is not there in just the putting the counter beads down.
Yeah.
The motions.
Yeah, it's so true.
So I need to come to that stage. I mean, you came to that conclusion from your the 12 step and everything.
I did, yeah.
What part of the 12 step does that come in where it's like, I'm not perfect, but God still loves me?
So we have like slogans, and one of them is easy does it.
Easy does it.
Easy does it.
Easy does it.
Just easy does it. And, the promise is if we are painstaking about this phase of our recovery, we're going to be amazed before we are halfway through. We're going to know a new freedom and a new peace. We're going to know the word serenity, and we're going to know peace. And this is steady, and it's a mix of everything. When you go, and the thing is, at the Bhakti Recovery Group, I really encourage everybody who comes to go to regular 12-step meetings of their choice, because you're going to get that Shakti from a regular 12-step meeting. Like
a non-Krishna one?
Yeah. Just a regular one in your neighborhood, wherever it is, go. I encourage you. You're going to get a lot out of it.
Really?
Yes. It's actually, it's so important because we are different. We are the Bhakti Recovery. We read 12-step literature and we read Vedic literature. Right now, I just kind of I chair 2 meetings a week, and one of those I read just the Gita and the Narcotics Anonymous basic text, which is sort of just whatever.
Yeah.
And I read on Thursdays. We're reading right now from Bhakti, The Art of Love, that small little Nectar of Devotion book. So we're on that one now. And I read it with a adult children of alcoholics and dysfunctional families book, and how they correlate is wonderful. So we read half and half Sometimes, like with the Thursday meetings, what I just said about the ACA meetings, the adult children meetings with Bhakti, the Art of Love, I try to pick out chapters that mix and match, and they do wonderfully.
Wow.
But with the Gita and the other one, I just do cover to cover. And it always winds up making sense together. It's insane.
Wow.
So, yeah.
And the Alachua and like Philly in-person ones?
So Philly is starting.
Wait, you said they were anonymous, but you go there and
you go there.
Okay.
Of course you go there.
But everyone is this like a confidentiality thing, like
totally. You go there and no one speaks. Like you don't talk about it outside.
Okay,
Yeah.
right.
So you won't like go to be like, oh yeah. It's like that's the thing. If you see someone in a meeting, like in regular AA, and it's the same in BRG. If you see someone at a meeting and you know them from a meeting and you see them in your community, and someone says, "Oh, you know Richard? How do you know Richard?" Like, "Oh, I just, I met him in the supermarket," or his wife knows my wife. You never say I met him at a meeting.
"Oh, really?
I met him at an AA meeting." Yeah, you don't say that.
Okay.
So it's completely confidential.
I got it.
And so yeah, we kind of
About Philly.
geared up for that. Yeah, so Philly, it's going to happen at the Bhakti Gardens. It's not going to it's not going to be at the temple. It'll be at Bhakti Gardens. It'll be every Wednesday.
We can confirm that.
Yeah, let's do that. At 7 p.m. every week.
Every week.
Every week, once a week. And so what I'm really trying to do now is really start a meeting in every community. It's best not to do it in the temple, and some people don't have the facilities anyway,
Yeah.
because you never know. It's like that. So I'm so, Dronacharya, who's the president of the Philly Temple, amazing. He's open, amazing guy.
Yeah.
And he's really been helping me. And Sita, who's the vice president, she's also behind it. So very grateful.
And you have to have someone who knows how to chair these meetings?
Yes.
Okay.
You can't just like pick anyone. So it's usually people. So what happens is we've been meeting online for 4 years. And we're trying to do this meeting in Mayapur as well, but that's been challenging.
Oh, really? Like everybody go as a retreat or something?
Yeah. No. We have a really Brihat Madanga, who's a really good friend of mine. Actually, you maybe want to cut that out. I don't want to. Oh no, he said he didn't care. He doesn't care.
Okay, yeah, sure.
He doesn't care. He heads up a Bhakti Recovery Group meeting in
Brihat
Mayapur.
Madanga, like from Canada?
No. He's from South Africa.
Oh, he's from South Africa.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And he heads up a Bhakti Recovery Group meeting in Mayapur.
Okay.
But he travels a lot, so it's difficult to be steady. But it's hard because in Mayapur, it's a very small community, and there's so much shame and blame in Mayapur, and so much stuff has happened in Mayapur, as we all know.
Yeah.
It's
That's a challenge with the Indian community, like how we were talking about it, how it's not like, maybe it's just an Asian thing, like the Asian culture, not just Indian, but even, other parts of Asia, just to speak openly about one's challenges and issues. That's like not done very often.
No, not at all. Not at all. And I really want to encourage that culture to open up. And I understand that it's going to take years.
Yeah.
And I ain't going anywhere unless Krishna takes me. So
So what is your role as far as like you're kind of overseeing all the different meetings?
at the moment, yeah, I am. And
To make sure they're like
yes.
going properly.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
things.
And we meet, we have like chairman's meetings
Okay.
where we all meet and talk about challenges or whatever's going on. And, just to keep it's real simple. We want to keep it really simple. I don't want this to be some complicated thing. The simpler, the better.
Yeah.
And, it's honestly just a space for either Krishna curious or devotees or 12-step people or devotees who are interested in 12 steps, getting to know the 12 steps, or both. It's really a place to come to be able to exchange and never be alone again. And that was the only vision that I ever had for that, was that it's that place. And I'm so grateful to be able to have had that service and have the chutzpah to keep going with that, you know.
What's it like for you being in the 12 step for so many years, but now having to, you know, mold those two, Bhakti and that together?
Good question.
Like, what is it? Like, how's that been?
You know, I feel like we're still premature. You know, I still feel like we're toddlers. We're 4. And while they, in my head, merge 100%, there's not a question in my mind. It's like as if Krishna has
Ordained it.
and molded them together and then soldered it closed.
Right.
For me to, like, I keep trying to write the book. I sit down and I've got all these random paragraphs and random chapters and random things about how it correlates. And
Oh, wow.
and my concept keeps changing. And also because I'm so ADHD, it's like that's how my brain works. It never works like in succession. It's always like, you know, like so like I need a really good editor. Does anyone have a good editor out there? You know, like
I'm sure you get somebody from someone watching.
yeah.
Wait, so you're trying to write a 12-step Bhakti book?
Yes, I am. And
That's a big undertaking because those books aren't small.
no, they're not. And
There's a lot to be
there's a lot
expressed.
to be expressed because, you know, one has to have, first of all, a lot of people need the substance, the thing. If I just say anartha, it's very, you know, I have to mold that all together somehow and be there and actually just cover all of it. You know, that umbrella. And it's been something that I jump in and then jump out. And I jump in and jump out. And I actually feel I've been doing a lot of reflecting on that lately. And I actually feel that soon it will be time. I just think it was just too premature. We needed time to organically kind of get to where we are now and go through some struggles, tribulations, and grow from those, you know, all of those things whenever you're in those places where it's just stress or scary or sad or depressing, all of those things afterwards, something beautiful happens afterwards. It's like the flower growing out of the poo, you know, like it's a big pile of poo and then sometime it's fertilized and a flower comes out, some beautiful flower, you know? Yeah. So I'm hoping that at some point it's going to be like that. Raghu is on my butt about it all the time. He's always like, you're going to write the book, you're going to write the book, you're going to write the book. And I should do that. But I do feel organically, and I'm not a lazy person. It's not like it's an excuse. It's really kind of like organically, it's almost time, but not yet. I mean, I'm collecting things, but it's not time yet.
And if you, looking like maybe 10 years into the future, what do you wish to see BRG become into the future? What's an ideal situation?
In-person meetings that is connected to every temple all over the world. Wow. Anyone who needs it. Just, you know, and it's not like, look, I just want people to be able to have a space there because it saved my life. It saved many others' lives. And I just wanted to keep doing that, you know, and if it's not just a life physically, it saves the spiritual life of somebody. Yeah. And that's what I really want. That's all I want. Wow. You know, and I owe this all, and I really have to say it's, you know, it's His Holiness Radhanath Swami who's empowered this mission. He's been just like, I remember when I sat in front of him the very first time and told him what I was doing. Yeah. And then I asked him, how can I serve you, Maharaj? And he said, Jiva, just keep doing what you're doing. Just keep doing what you're doing. And then, you know, so now I'm also starting another project with the Manor called the Recovery Annex. And it's a little different from the Bhakti Recovery Group. It's a little more outreach. Oh, okay. And a little, and it's also in its young stages. We've had already one-day retreat. We'll have some more. And it's been, we're still in our early stages.
How is it different from the BRG?
It's going to be a little more, or it has been just a little more, not as in-your-face Krishna. It's a little more bridgy.
I see.
You know, like more like yoga, wisdom, those kind of words. And, you know, and
But
just,
with recovery stuff.
yeah, sure. It's very recovery. It is recovery oriented, and we're working with all different kinds of people and, you know, institutions and other kinds of 12-step communities that we invite to come, just to kind of, it's kind of a little introduction as it is now. It's just an introduction as to how recovery relates to kirtan, how you can bring recovery in yoga, how you can, and it'll be like retreats and we'll see, you know, how it grows from there. And so some of the people who are interested in Krishna consciousness, then we kind of, you know, keep them around, and that's kind of how.
I remember years ago, there used to be something, I mean, they still have it, the prison ministry. Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah.
Similar concept, right? Like,
yes.
Someone's in prison, they're in this kind of state where they're probably more open to spiritual life. Devotees go there, or they do it by mail, and they, you know, show them about Krishna consciousness, and then when they get out, they basically are devotees, and they...
Did you see that little film? There was a film about that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I saw it once and I never could find it again. It was a film how they were in prison and they had beads and they were chanting, and it was in the States. It was in the South somewhere.
Really?
Yeah.
I think there were actually a lot of...
documentary.
I think there's actually a lot of people who became devotees through that prison ministry.
Yeah, and you see these like gnarly tattoo guys, like just like reading the Gita. You're just like, dude.
No, but then I heard some devotees say, like, a friend of mine was like, but do we want those people like coming to the temple after, like, they just got out from like a life, you know, a long sentence or something, and then they like come to the temple, everyone's like doesn't know what to do with this person.
I know.
So it's a little bit, I mean, I don't have that opinion, but that might be something that the manager of the temple might be concerned about or something. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's also a matter of concern generally. You know, even with addicts, it's like you don't want a rehab next to a temple.
Yeah,
your deities will be stolen at some point if they're gonna have a relapse. You don't even know. You know,
right?
So, but yeah, usually people you know, I would say that the Bhakti recovery group is not like, we're not going to attract someone from Kensington.
Right.
It's not going to be that, you know, it's not really like that.
Yeah.
So, and I would recommend anyone who's that drug addicted to just go to regular meetings and get help somewhere else first.
Yes.
You know, Bhakti recovery group is recovery 2.0. You know, it comes after that.
What I'm trying to kind of... what I would like to see is for people to understand better that this is for everyone. Because there's such a misconception that it's, I don't struggle with drugs, so it's not for me. Or I don't struggle with alcohol, it's not for me. But from what you're saying, it is for everyone. Like, I feel enthused to, like, after this podcast's over, like, try to research where I could plug in somewhere, because I feel I could totally benefit from it.
You could. And you can benefit from any of our meetings. See, this is the thing. Our Sangha, we of course, you have to have some sort of literature, right? So we have AA literature, NA literature. Like each night we have a different literature. AA, NA, SA. SA is Sex Anonymous. That's the men's meeting. Because usually women aren't sex addicted, but men are. Usually. Right. So we have codependent meetings. We have adult children meetings. We have overeater meetings. So we have all of these meetings. But everybody goes to each other's meetings. If someone identifies and one of their anartas as being an adult child of an alcoholic or a dysfunctional family, they will go to an AA meeting and have the same self-realizations that they will, because our solutions are the same. The problem might be different. Again, here we are. Same perfume, different bottle. And the same thing for the solutions. The solutions are the 12 steps and Vedic literature. Those are their solutions. Those are our practical, tangible solutions. And no matter what problem it is, it's still the same thing. We're still trying to get rid of something that only Krishna can get rid of, actually. And we're trying to keep going forward in our spiritual life. And we have all of these blockages. And all these blockages, whether it's called alcohol, whether it's called codependency, whether it's called food, whether it's called video games, it doesn't matter. And 12-step literature addresses all of that. So when somebody identifies themselves as an alcoholic and goes to an ACA meeting, they're going to take the word dysfunction and put alcohol in it instead. And it's the other way around. So we all frequent each other's meetings. We're just all going. Nobody who comes to the Bhakti Recovery Group on a regular basis just attends one meeting.
This is true trailblazing, because I don't think that when all this Vedic literature was written in India 100 years ago, few hundred years ago, for it to transfer onto the West, where people are more open and are open to talking about challenges like this, it's like they didn't think that. What am I trying to say is that when, like, during Srila Prabhupada's time or his guru's time, people didn't maybe talk openly because it's culturally not acceptable to talk about these things openly. But now that Krishna consciousness has come to, the West, and people have these, goals that they want to hit, whether it's like chanting or regulative principles, to deal with that, you have to meet it there with this kind of Bhakti recovery group, I think. And that's unheard of, I think. This is like really trailblazing. I mean, that just struck me just now, to that, people back in, hundreds of years ago, where they're performing devotional service and bhakti and things. Of course, they had struggles, I'm sure, but they didn't have to. I feel like we struggle more now with so many different things, whether it's drugs or social media or phones, or
because there are more things, stuff,
more things,
items,
yeah,
distractions. It's crazy.
Yeah,
it's insane. It's like, literally, it's like the devil. Like, if you think about it, it's like the devil's playthings. Just constantly, here, take this, have this, love this, need this. This car, that house, this thing, that thing, boom, 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 boom. Stick it in that God-sized hole.
Hyper-consumerism.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Fill it. Distract yourselves. I do it. I distract myself.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm not feeling very spiritual.
Yeah.
And what do? I'll just scroll. I'll scroll.
Same.
And it's like, okay, my scrolling is not so bad. It's like a lot of puppies and kittens. I love puppies and kittens. And it's really funny. If you would see like my whole, what do you
For
call
you
it?
page?
My oh God, no, my algorithm. It's like, like puppies, kittens, MMA. It's so random. Krishna conscious stuff.
Yeah.
And like sometimes these like really corny, like, like quotes, like, mental health quotes and stuff like that.
Right.
But, yeah, so I'll just go down that rabbit hole, get inspired. Same. But, I don't know if I feel so bad about it, actually. I just can't say that I feel horrible about it. I don't watch TV. I don't use drugs. I don't drink. I don't party.
You're saying you don't feel bad about scrolling?
No, I don't.
I feel so bad about it.
Do you? Why do you feel bad about it?
It's such a waste of time.
I guess it is.
And you know what the worst thing is? You're like doing it and you're like, I have something to do right now. Get off the phone. And you just can't. It's just like you're stuck to it. And they make it like that. It's designed to do that. It's designed to be so addictive that, and then as a little bit time goes on, I'm like, no, I have to do what I have to do.
And then you put it down.
But that feeling in itself is so,
That's addiction.
Yeah.
That is addiction. Doing what you don't want to do, even though you have something else to do, you're doing just that.
Yes, that's addiction.
It is. That's right there, addiction.
I guess I haven't maybe accepted that.
Yeah. And
that's one of the steps, right? You have to accept that you have a problem.
Yeah, exactly. And if you don't, and it has to hurt enough. You have to be sick and tired. You know, you have to be, none of us are going to be like, oh, of course, that'll be the best thing ever. You know, we make like great decisions all the time. You know, that's, if we did, then we probably wouldn't be here now. So these are the things that drive us to make better decisions. We have to make bad decisions generally in order to make good decisions. I mean, sometimes we do make good decisions, but I mean, when it comes to stuff like that, that compulsory behavior, we have to make those bad decisions. We have to feel those yucky feelings why we're saying, I don't want to do this and keep doing it. And I don't want to do this, but you keep doing it. And I don't want to do this and you keep doing it. At some point, it's a really gross feeling. You get disgusted with yourself.
Yeah.
And when that happens, and you do that long enough, something will snap and you will be able to surrender.
Yeah.
Do it long enough, you know, and some people don't make it to that. Some people die beforehand if we're talking about addictions, you know, or if we're talking about, you know, just some people, it's just not dysfunctional enough for them to change, you know.
Like it doesn't affect your life that much, but then that like mediocrity would bother me. Totally. Like that for years and years, just being mediocre and like be like, oh yeah, just let it go. It's okay. It doesn't affect my life that much, but I mean, that weighs on you.
But that's the most dangerous thing. And that's why I said, did I say this in the beginning? That I am so lucky to have had such a harsh addiction problem.
You did say that, yeah.
Because between, when you just said this mediocrity, this everything sort of in the middle being just whatever, there's so much room to hide there.
Yes.
And you never get moving.
Oh, yes.
And you never get moving. And that's the complacency. That's when we get complacent.
Yeah.
When there's not fire under our ass, we're complacent.
Yeah.
And I see that. Like with my scrolling, the reason why I don't feel so bad about it is because I just do it when I want to. I put it down when I want to.
Yeah.
I'm lucky like that.
Yeah.
But some people aren't. Some people cannot leave.
Yes.
They cannot. And I, you know, I have other things where I'm unlucky, you know, where it's just a compulsion, you know, like I've got food issues now. Since I'm older, I have food issues. Like I can't say no. I can't say no within the realms of, okay, I don't eat meat. I don't eat egg. I follow all of that. But I still will take that second plate of prashadam. I'll still, you know, eat something at 10 at night. You know what Raghu said once? He was so funny. His mother said this to him, and I'll never forget it. Nothing good ever happens after 10:30.
Yeah, I've heard him say that.
Yeah. The best thing in the world. And how many times have I had my little fingers in a bag of chips at 10 at night?
Yes, yes.
Terrible. And every time I say I'm not going to do it. Coming to America, I was nervous because I knew there's like all this food that I haven't been eating. Yeah. And like all this junk food that I've missed all my life, you know, like being in Germany, I'm like, I'm going to have a Slurpee. And I'm going to have, I was like the first thing, a blue Slurpee. Like,
yeah.
Gross, you know, like, like I'm going to have this and I'm going to have that. And I'm going to get this and I'm going to get that.
We're laughing about it, but
yeah, it's a struggle.
Yeah.
It's a struggle. And I haven't had a Slurpee yet, but I'm going to get one.
There's a 7-Eleven literally right there.
But that's a slush puppy, not a Slurpee.
A slush
puppy. I hate Slurpees.
Oh, okay. Slush puppy. Where's that from? I don't know.
It's just like, it's a little
I know what it is, but
yeah.
I don't remember where you could, like, what's the difference?
I don't know. I always used to get them at like the corner stores.
Right. Slush
like
puppy.
the little mom and pop shops.
But
yeah, like things like that. And like, I was stressing out before I got here. Like really like, what am I going to do? I'm going to overeat. I'm going to gain all this weight while I'm here. I'm going to get unhealthy. And when I got to your house, I was so happy. Your wife cooked. Oh my God. Tulsi cooked so much good stuff. Like just all the stuff that I wouldn't feel bad about eating. Yeah. Like you said, you feel bad about scrolling. I feel bad about eating. If I don't make good choices, I'm in a horror. I punish myself.
Really?
Yes. So, I mean, not that much, but it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You know, it's uncomfortable. So no matter what it is, it's the skin of an onion, another skin, another skin, another skin. And no matter what it's the whack-a-mole. And it's also the changing seats of the Titanic. Anytime that I'm practicing any kind of addiction and I think this one's going to be different, or my disease takes me here, or my disease takes me there, or, you know, my stupid thoughts take me here. It's always the same. I'm going down on the same damn ship, just on another seat.
Yeah. And I think all of us are in that ship.
Hell yeah.
All of us are in that ship. That's what we have to realize. I think it takes, first step is just, realizing that there's an issue.
Did you know I have a podcast now?
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. No, I think
like a year.
I knew that. I think I knew that.
Yeah, for a year.
How's that been going?
Really good. I don't even pay attention to any of it. I just
and
do it and release it.
How do you listen? How can someone listen to it?
Everywhere. Anywhere podcast.
Like
Apple
audio?
Yeah.
Okay.
Apple Podcast. It's also on YouTube, but I haven't figured out how to really...
Okay.
It's audio, but I haven't really figured out how to do it nicely.
Yeah, it's just audio on YouTube is a little weird. I couldn't figure it out either.
Yeah.
But what is it called?
It's called the Bhakti Recovery Podcast.
Oh, yes. Okay.
And you can get it on Spotify. You can get it on Apple Podcasts. Anywhere you can get a podcast.
We'll put the link in the description for that podcast too.
Yeah.
But how many episodes have you done?
Like over 100.
What?
Yeah. I do it twice a week.
Are you serious?
I'm serious. I think it's even more than that. So I have shorties on Mondays. So that's sort of like 15 minutes, 20 minutes, sometimes 25 minutes.
Oh my God, that's
of
great.
Just like I go for a walk in the woods and then I'll just talk. And then I'll just record it and do that. And then on Thursdays, usually every Thursday, but lately not, I just do interviews with other people in recovery.
Yeah.
So it's formulated so that the shorties are numbered separately than the interviews are numbered.
Okay.
So I think shorty we're on like 60, shorty 60, 61. And on the interviews, I think we're on like 50.
So the people who are in the anonymous group are agreeing to like kind of put all their stuff out on the table, so to say. Yeah. Oh, interesting.
I mean, most people do. I have nothing to hide. I'm not scared of a damn thing.
Wow.
It's like, I don't understand. This is what I don't understand. People are honest, like, especially drug addicts. I'm like, you are out there looking like a piece of trash, like being a zombie on drugs, and now you're embarrassed to say that you're in recovery. It's like, what? Like, what? Like, half the neighborhood saw me when I was a zombie junkie, and now I'm clean, and now I'm embarrassed to say something? Wow. Come on.
Wow.
But whatever, I'm not criticizing people's need to be anonymous. I understand people's need to be anonymous. I don't want to make small of that.
Of course, yeah.
But for me, I think in staying anonymous, you risk not helping another individual who's in the same position you are.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, that's why I'd love to talk to you about this, because I think so many people will be, or so devotees particularly, be saying, this is something I struggle with and I need help. And hearing this podcast made me, make the jump to joining some group or something,
and it doesn't have to be the BRG. Go to a regular reading.
Right.
I'm not interested in anything but the recovery and every individual, how they want to recover. I'm interested in people. It's like what Prabhupada says, and this is what drew me to Prabhupada the most. And he said, I'm not interested in making you Krishna conscious. I'm interested in that you find God. He said that on an interview.
Right.
And I believe the same. I'm not interested in converting anyone to Bhakti Recovery Group. I'm interested in telling people that they have a choice, that they can be free. And there are so many support groups. We're one of many. The world doesn't need a Bhakti Recovery Group.
Yeah.
We have 1 million recovery groups.
Yeah.
I mean, my Sangha would disagree with that statement. They say we needed it, and we're so glad that it's here. And for me, I feel the same way.
Yeah.
But I think, like the world generally, maybe not just devotees, but the world generally, there's so many 12-step groups out there, and it doesn't cost anything. And by the way, the Bhakti Recovery Group doesn't cost anything either. So if you go to our website, you just get the Zoom link. That's it. That's all. You just get the Zoom link and you join. We have a WhatsApp group. We're also going to be in India. We're going with Wisdom of the Sages to India. People should sign up for that. It's going to be amazing. Basically, what happens in India at the Govardhanaka village, we go there every year with Wisdom of the Sages, and we do a Bhakti Recovery Group on top of that. And this year, we're going to do something a little different, and we are going to... So what Kastuba's classes we're going to piggyback off those and piggyback off Kostuva's classes and make it 12-step relevant.
Wow.
So it's going to be really interesting. It's going to be the first time to do that. So I'm really, really excited for that. You can sign up on Wisdom of the Sages.
I want to underscore again that this is for everyone. And like what you said, you have to want to do this.
Yeah.
And the more that we understand about addiction, anarthas, and associated behaviors, the better we can like help people, devotees in particular, just move forward in life, move forward in spiritual life, I think.
And give it to others.
And give it to others, yeah.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
the most important thing.
Yeah. It's so important. So important. I feel super inspired.
Oh, man.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I feel inspired.
And thank you for doing what you do. I mean, you know, you don't get any money from it.
No, I
You're
don't.
You're just doing it from your own experience that this helped you, and you're seeing it in real time help others, and so you want to give back, want to just do it. And I think that's the success. That's guaranteed success, I would say. That if you're Krishna will help you ultimately if you're just trying to be that's the goal, right? Selfless devotional service.
That's exactly what it is.
So-
And I can tell you, I've never expected anything. And the Philly community pitched in and got me here.
Wow.
And I didn't ask for it. And they are just, I'm so impressed with the Philly community. I really am. I need to give them a big shout out. They've been so kind to me and so open and so wanting to be reciprocal in the Bhakti recovery group and sort of try and instill this this culture within the Bhakti community, within the devotee community.
Yeah.
And so thank you, Philly.
Thank you.
Thank you, Philly.
Thank you, Philly. So I think we can end there, but
Sure.
If you want to get in touch with Jiva, if you want to see the website, if you want to hear the podcast, I'm going to put all the links in the description. We were just talking about maybe starting a donation thing for.
Oh yeah.
I'll put that whenever we get it. I'll put that in description as well. I'm sure there are people who want to support such a cause because they feel they've done it or they feel they can financially help in some sort of way, which would be really awesome, I think, for you, for your cause and everything. So we'll put that in description. So please like, subscribe, and comment. And thank you again, Jiva, for coming on.
Thank you so much.
Awesome talking with you as always.
Yeah, thanks. I love talking to you, and I love your family. And I have to say, everybody, I'm going to tell this to everybody. His kids are the best kids in the world. I love these kids. I'm going to steal them.
Well, they're downstairs right now. They're waiting for us.
Okay, great.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good night. Thank you.
Link to the podcast, my podcast.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Link to the podcast will be there.
Okay.
Bhakti Recovery Podcast.
Yes.
Found on all platforms where you can listen to podcasts. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night. Hare Krishna.
Haribol.
Hare
Krishna.
See you
Thanks.
later. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.